first. Okay.
Yeah, so Sandy's first, right?
Okay. I'm Delegate Sandy Rosenberg. I represent the community on both sides of Northern Parkway, the 41st Legislative District. It's my pleasure and honor to be here today to endorse our next mayor, Sheila Dixon. I worked with Mayor Dixon when she was a member of the council, when she was president of the council, and when she was mayor. And you knew that if you had a problem in your community, if my constituents had problems, they would get addressed by our city government. Whether it is public safety, there's going to be a special meeting of the Glen Association later this month to deal not just with carjackings, those had been a problem, remain a problem, but we now have juveniles using guns to commit crime in this community. We have extraordinary potential a few blocks down the street. I would leave Pimlico as a student and go to the racetrack because I had a friend, Jay Slater, who lived across the street. And so my efforts, and look forward to the joint efforts with Mayor Dixon to make Pimlico not only the racetrack for the Preakness, but a center for redevelopment in Northwest Baltimore. Half of that site is going to be used for non-racing purposes. And we already have the neighborhoods on both sides of Northern Parkway, both sides of the racetrack, working together every month to make sure that that is a jewel of redevelopment. We need this city, this neighborhood, this community needs a mayor who knows that community problems have to be addressed right away. They can't be left to fester. We can't wait until an election year to address those problems. Sheila Dixon has the record of accomplishment, of responsiveness, and it's my pleasure and my honor to endorse her and work with her for her to be the next mayor of the city of Baltimore.
Thank you, Sandy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank Delegate Sandy Rosenberg for his support. I live in the 41st District, so it's even extra exciting that he has come out and supported me. Sandy and I, as he said, has worked on many issues in this city, in this district. He has a very diverse community. I stand with him to support what is going on in Israel, and I stand with the people in this community who are now being challenged based on living a peaceful life. Sandy Rosenberg, Delegate Rosenberg, has worked tirelessly to make sure that the Pimlico racetrack is redeveloped, not just for racing, but to increase and enhance the community. I'm honored that he took a stance to hold on to Roe versus Wade in the state of Maryland so that women can have a choice. I stand with him as we work towards making sure that all of our communities deserve the quality response from the city of services to make sure that our city is safe. He and I are both products of Baltimore City Public Schools. Our public schools need and deserve the best education that they can get, and we have to provide quality services for our citizens. And now is the time that we have to continue to not just take our time when there's election year, but we have to work tirelessly every day. Baltimore has so many great jewels in this city, and you'll hear me say it over and over and over again. And I'm not going to talk about the past success, but let's look at the future and what we can do together. And that's what it's going to take. We need partnerships in Annapolis, and this partnership with Sandy Rosenberg is going to be a great opportunity for us to move opportunities in the 41st and in the entire city forward. So at this time, we'll take any questions that you have.
Try getting a problem solved. If when I call when my staff calls, it takes too long to get a response, for the city bureaucracy to be responsive. Whether it is my rabbi writes a column in about his car being impounded, there's no sense of urgency about addressing constituent neighborhood problems. That is the essence of city government, and there's no vision to address the long-term problems as well. Well, I mean, we have an issue. Go east from here to Northern Parkway and Falls Road. It has taken way too long for the Department of Transportation to respond, to come up with a plan to address that traffic problem. People from all over the city, from East Baltimore, that's a major intersection. And it has been pulling teeth to get movement there. We've gotten money from the state for the park, which is on Rogers Avenue, just east of here. And it's taken too long to get the Department of Recreation and Parks to respond and say, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to work with the neighborhood. It is unfortunately the norm that this kind of slowness in responding to communities. Mayor Dixon's experience compared to the record of the incumbent is the difference. Well, I learned a long time ago. I've been in the legislature for 41 years. When you endorse somebody, you want them to win. So I wouldn't think there would be retribution in Annapolis for my supporting Sheila Dixon today. But if there are attempts at that, that helps make my case. I'm not predicting it, but now's the right time.
I had no intentions initially in getting involved in this campaign and running for office. But my love for this city and the people in this city, I stepped out of being selfish to really step up to go forth. I mean, I know polls are out there. I don't necessarily rely on polls. My strategy folks, they do more so than me. I think it's a matter of the message that we get across to our constituent. I think it's a matter of what we're doing as far as not only having policies and plans, but how effective can you be? I've tried to work with this current administration for a number of years. I understand, I hear the frustrations based on my clients that I work with, based on people who reach out to me for the last 8, 9 years or more about services ranging from A to Z. And the bottom line is we have a responsibility to respond to our taxpayers and our constituents. And that's not happening. And when you hear from people that maybe you have a dysfunctional one agency, but when you hear that you have multiple agencies that are dysfunctional, and there's no reason for that. There's more money that we have now in the city than ever before. I managed the city under a recession. We had to do a lot with very little. And I don't know what the future looks like, but I'm willing to just put all my energy and efforts behind this so that not just myself, because it's going to take all of us. It's going to take our delegates. It's going to take the citizens, everybody has to step up and take a responsibility and be a part of this effort. And that's just the message. I will always be transparent with the citizens of Baltimore. I think it's important, no matter what happens, what the situation is, we have to be honest and truthful. If we make a mistake in city government, we've got to let the constituents know, and then we have to tell them how we're going to fix it.
Well, there's a commitment of $400 million, $375 million in a statute passed by the General Assembly. There's continued work on the plan. There's a meeting of the new racing authority 2 days from now. We hope to have a revised proposal before the legislature this coming session. And let me tell you, I walked out of this school one Friday afternoon when I was an 8th grader. We walked to the track, and in the middle of the afternoon, we saw people coming out of the track. It was November 22nd, 1963. That was the day that President Kennedy was shot. My history, my involvement goes back to then. And that's why I have the commitment shared by the mayor to making sure that Pimlico remains a jewel, not just a jewel in the Triple Crown, but a jewel in Northwest Baltimore.
Right now, the city body doesn't have a place to play. Do you think in the future, the infield could be used for such events like that?
Repeat that. You said who doesn't have a place to play?
City poly game?
Oh, the city poly game.
They're having trouble finding a venue.
Oh, really?
And I was thinking that maybe in the future could Pimlico be used for something like that.
Well, there is enough room in the infield for 4 soccer fields. Now, whether that's suitable for, unfortunately, not on Thanksgiving Day because of the new system for the city poly game, but it's being open to that kind of thinking and recognizing the importance of that game to both schools, not just city, but to the other school, to Poly, that the mayor would bring to the job.
And I didn't go to Poly or City. I went to Northwestern. But as a young person, I was at the Memorial Stadium every Thanksgiving at the Poly Western game. And we have a lot of great institutions in this city where we should be able to house the Poly City game. I mean, that's a tradition that we don't want to lose.
It's City Poly, Madam Mayor.
City, well, my great niece went to Poly. She graduated 2 years ago from Poly. She was a soccer player, but I got you.
I'm spending a lot of time, by the way, what's the future of the Poly Western Complex? Because under the 21st Century School Program, we've renovated. We're about to do the the ribbon cutting for cross country right nearby where I went to elementary school, and now we're going to do City, Poly, Western, and Douglas. So I'm going to be an honorary graduate of Poly before this is over. But that's the kind of work that an elected official does. It doesn't matter where you went to high school. If there's a need in your district, it's your responsibility to help the community solve the problem.
Last question.
How far, you said you're going to put money into Pimlico, how far would that stretch as far as the community? Pimlico is one thing,
Absolutely. We now have a governor who cares about the Pimlico neighborhood in addition to caring about the racetrack. There's investment already going on. The High community, the High neighborhood program located up here has done 2 housing developments. Dan Henson and the Henson Company, they're doing across the street. Pratt Library is opening a new branch, groundbreaking this fall. We're moving.
The bottom line is we have to get a handle over the guns that are coming to the city. It doesn't matter. I don't care about the country. I care about what's happening in Baltimore and in the state of Maryland. And we've got to get a better handle. And we had efforts. People can say, well, that was in the past. But some of those efforts worked. Looking at guns that were coming down 95, making sure that our officers were attending the gun shows and tracking them. The gun registry, where we were tracking individuals, like the 15-year-old that just shot a 12-year-old. He would have been registered with the gun registered. We would be following up with him and probation, juvenile justice in their faces. I mean, we've got to be aggressive in what we do in a way that is not going to harm anybody, but we have to send a message. People have to be accountable. Our police need to be able to have the support. One of the things that came out of our town hall meeting, our listening session, was engagement. So officers not only get out of the car, but we've got to get them more engaged in the community with the residents, talking to them, understanding them. I'll give you a little story. This person won't be named, but I'm going to use him over and over and over. He used to be at Northern District. He had York Road, the corridor York Road below Belvedere before Cold Spring. And I was over that way recently, and I noticed it's changed, and I asked him about him. And what he said to me was, he said, Aunt Sheila, we had officers out there when they were playing dice and doing whatever they were doing. I told them, I'm not having it. I'm not tolerating this under my watch. You got to take this somewhere else, but we're not going to tolerate it. I mean, we've got to get to that point where you're not going to be disrespectful to the individual, but you've got to be out there and send the kind of message that quality of life is important. Crime is down, but most people don't feel safe. People are leaving this city, and we don't want to lose people. We want people to be a part of Baltimore City. It was 1 million people when I grew up in this city. The Baltimore City public school system is a separate entity, and so we're in partnership with the state, and I think what people have to understand is that the mayor appoints the school board